have you ever wondered what's really going through his mind when he says certain things? You know those moments when you're talking to a guy and something feels different. Like there's a hidden meaning behind his words that you can't quite put your finger on. Well, ladies, today we're going to crack the code. I'm going to share with you the subtle signals and phrases men use when they're genuinely interested in taking things to the next level, but are too nervous, proud, or strategic to say it outright. Most women miss these signs completely, which means they're either left wondering where they stand or missing opportunities with someone they're actually interested in. But by the end of this guide, you'll be a master at reading between the lines and understanding exactly what he means, giving you the power to decide how, why, or you want to respond. So grab your favorite drink, get comfortable, and let's dive into the fascinating world of male communication patterns. Hey, gorgeous! I'm your host for today's deep dive into the male psyche. As women, we're often told we're the complicated ones, but let me tell you, men have their own complex language system that they use to communicate interest without being too direct. Here's the thing, men are often taught from a young age to be the pursuers, but they're also terrified of rejection. So they've developed this intricate system of hints, suggestions, and coded language to test the waters before making themselves vulnerable. Understanding these patterns isn't about playing games, it's about being informed. When you know what to look for, you can make empowered decisions about whether you want to encourage his interest, set boundaries, or simply enjoy the flattery without any pressure. Today, we're going to explore 9 key phrases and behaviors that indicate a man is very interested in getting closer to you both emotionally and physically. Think of this as your decoder ring for modern dating. Your trouble, or you're going to get me in trouble? Ladies, when a man says you're trouble, he's actually giving you one of the highest compliments possible. This isn't about you being problematic. It's about you being irresistible. What he's really saying is, you make me want to do things I wouldn't normally do. You make me want to take risks. You're so attractive that you're disrupting my usual careful approach to life. This phrase indicates he sees you as someone who brings excitement and passion into his world. He's acknowledging that you have a powerful effect on him, one that makes him want to step outside his comfort zone. Men are often more cautious in relationships than we give them credit for. When he calls you trouble, he's admitting that his usual defenses are down around you. He's feeling that intoxicating mix of attraction and nervousness that comes when someone really gets under your skin in the best way possible. If you're interested, lean into it with confidence. A playful "maybe I am" or "the best kind of trouble" shows you're not intimidated by his attraction and you're comfortable with your own power. If you're not interested, this is a perfect time to redirect the conversation or gently establish boundaries. Make sure this comment comes with respect. If he's saying you're trouble while also being pushy or disrespectful, that's a different story entirely. The right kind of trouble comment should feel flattering and exciting, not predatory or uncomfortable. "You smell amazing" or comments about your scent, this one might surprise you. But when a man comments on how you smell, he's operating on a completely different level of attraction than surface level compliments. The science of scent. Smell is directly connected to the limbic system in our brain, the part that controls emotions, memories, and yes, sexual attraction. When he notices and comments on your scent, his brain is already associating you with pleasure and desire. Unlike compliments about your outfit or hairstyle, which are visual and somewhat distant, scent requires proximity. He has to be close enough to you to notice, and his brain has to be paying attention on a subconscious level. When he says you smell great, he's telling you that he's been close enough to notice and he liked being that close. His subconscious mind is already associating you with positive feelings. He's thinking about being even closer to you. He's comfortable enough to mention something intimate without being overly sexual. Here's something most men don't realize: women have a stronger sense of smell than men do. So when a man notices and comments on your scent, it means the attraction is strong enough to override his typically less sensitive nose. If you're interested in him, this is a great opportunity to create more intimate moments. You might step a little closer when you're talking, or playfully ask what exactly he likes about your perfume. If you're not interested, simply accept the compliment graciously and maintain your current physical distance. "I don't usually do this, but," or "this isn't like me, but," oh, ladies. When you hear this phrase, pay attention, because he's about to tell you exactly how special he thinks you are. This phrase is his way of saying, you are worth breaking my rules for. Whether those rules are about dating, relationships, or just how he typically behaves, he's letting you know that you've inspired him to make an exception. Common variations. I don't usually text this much, but I'm not normally the type to do this. But I never do this. But I had to ask you out. This is so unlike me. But what makes this phrase so significant is the vulnerability behind it. He's essentially admitting that you have enough of an effect on him to make him act outside his comfort zone. For many men, this is a big admission. In dating, if he says this while asking you out or suggesting something romantic, he's telling you that you're worth the risk of rejection. In conversation, if he says this while sharing something personal, he's indicating a level of trust and connection he doesn't usually feel. In physical situations, if he says this in a more intimate setting, he's letting you know that his interest in you is overriding his usual caution. When he uses this phrase, he's actually giving you a lot of control. He's shown his hand. You now know that you have a special effect on him. You can choose to encourage this exception making, acknowledge the compliment without reciprocating, or use this information to understand where you stand with him. Response strategies, if interested. What kind of exception am I? Playful and encouraging if unsure. What do you mean? I gives you more information if not interested. That's sweet, but so acknowledges the compliment while maintaining boundaries. It's getting late, but this is so much fun. And do you live close by? These two phrases often go hand in hand, and they're prime examples of how men communicate interest while maintaining plausible deniability. The late but fun dynamic, when he mentions that it's getting late but immediately follows it with how much fun he's having, he's creating what I call a time trap. He's acknowledging the logical reason the evening should end while simultaneously expressing his desire for it to continue. What he's really asking, he's essentially saying, I don't want this to end, but I need you to give me a sign that you don't want it to end either. He's putting the decision in your hands while making his preference clear. The location question, do you live close by, is rarely just about geography. This question usually comes up when he's trying to figure out logistics for extending your time together. He might be thinking about continuing the conversation somewhere more private, the possibility of physical intimacy, simply not wanting the connection to end, planning future meetups, reading the situation. The context matters enormously here. If you've been having a deep connecting conversation and there's obvious chemistry, these phrases indicate romantic interest. If it's been more casual or friendly, he might genuinely just be enjoying your company platonically. Your response options, if you're interested. I'm having fun too. So it keeps things open. I don't want this to end either. More direct. Answer the location question honestly. If you're unsure, what did you have in mind? Gets clarifications, suggest a specific alternative like grabbing coffee soon if you're not interested. I should probably head home soon. I've had a great time. Thank you. Be vague about your location. Safety first. Remember, ladies, your safety always comes first. Even if you're interested, it's perfectly fine to suggest meeting again soon rather than extending the current evening. A man who's genuinely interested in you will respect this and be excited about future plans. Do you think I'm really that innocent? And you're different. These phrases reveal something fascinating about male psychology, the need to understand how you perceive them, and the desire to stand out in your mind. Innocence test, when he asks if you think he's that innocent, he's actually fishing for information about how you see him. More specifically, he's wondering if you see him as sexually attractive, experienced, and confident, someone who could match your energy, worth considering as more than just a friend. What this question reveals. This question typically comes from men who are worried they might be coming across as too nice, too safe, or too predictable. He wants to know if you see his more adventurous, passionate side. Your different declaration, this is a huge compliment that many women don't fully appreciate. When a man says you're different, he's telling you that you've made a memorable impression, you stand out from other women he's met. He's been thinking about you probably a lot. He sees relationship potential. Why this matters. Men don't casually tell women they're different. This phrase only comes out when he's genuinely intrigued and attracted. He's essentially saying that you've disrupted his usual patterns of thinking about women and relationships. The comparison factor, whether we like it or not, people naturally compare potential partners to past experiences. When he says you're different, he's telling you that this comparison has worked strongly in your favor. Responding to identity questions. For the innocence question, if interested, there's more to everyone than meets the eye, mysterious and encouraging if playful. I'm still figuring you out. keeps him engaged if not interested. I think you're a good person, friendly but not flirtatious, for you're different how, encourages him to elaborate. I hope that's a good thing. It's a light and positive. Everyone's unique in their own way. They're diplomatic. If you're not sure about your interest, rating between the lines. Both of these phrases indicate that he's thinking about you in a romantic context and comparing you favorably to other options. He's also seeking validation that you see him as a viable romantic partner, not just a friend. So, what now? And we're not having sex tonight. These final two phrases represent what I call decision point communication, moments when he's either asking you to take the lead or trying to manage expectations while keeping doors open. The open-ended question, so what now, is one of the most loaded questions in dating. He's essentially saying, I want something to happen next, but I want you to be comfortable with whatever that is. This phrase typically comes up when the evening feels like it's reaching a natural conclusion. There's been obvious chemistry and connection. He's hoping for physical intimacy, but doesn't want to be pushy. He's genuinely unsure about your level of interest, the reverse psychology statement. We're not having sex tonight is fascinating because it accomplishes several things at once. It brings up the topic of sex without him being the one to suggest it. It positions him as respectful and not pushy. It creates a challenge that many people find intriguing. It opens the door for you to disagree if you want to use psychology behind it. This statement often comes from men who are very interested in physical intimacy, but want to seem respectful and not overly aggressive. It's a way of testing your interest while maintaining the appearance of being a gentleman. What these phrases really mean, both of these phrases indicate high interest combined with uncertainty about your feelings. He's interested in physical intimacy, but is looking for clear signals from you about your comfort level and desires. Strategic response options, if you're interested in taking things further for what now, suggest something specific like going somewhere more private. For the sex comment, who says what's happening tonight? Playful and empowering. If you want to take things slow for what now, I'd love to see you again soon. For the sex comment, I agree. Let's see where things go naturally. If you're not interested for what now, I should probably head home. For the sex comment, I'm glad we're on the same page. The empowerment factor. Remember, ladies, these phrases are actually giving you a lot of control in the situation. He's essentially asking for your input and comfort level rather than just assuming or pushing forward. Use this to your advantage to steer the interaction in whatever direction feels right for you. Ladies, understanding these communication patterns isn't just about dating, it's about being an empowered woman who can read situations accurately and make informed decisions about your relationships. Here's what I want you to do next first. Start paying attention to the language patterns of the men in your life. You'll be amazed at how much more information you can gather once you know what to listen for. Second, remember that knowledge is power, but your comfort and boundaries are paramount. Just because you can recognize interest doesn't mean you're obligated to reciprocate it. Third, use this information to build your confidence. When you can accurately read situations, you'll feel more secure in your interactions and better able to communicate your own interests and boundaries. Finally, share this knowledge with your fellow women. The more we understand about communication patterns across genders, the better we can all navigate the complex world of modern relationships. You deserve to feel confident, informed, and empowered in all your interactions. Now you have the tools to decode what he's really thinking. Use them wisely. And remember that the most important voice in any relationship is your own. Until next time, stay curious, stay confident, and keep being the amazing woman you are.